I was recommended to go to Seaside because I'd come to this precipice after all the treatment and everything, and I just felt I was falling over a cliff. And it was the two Macmillan nurses that said, you will find, they believed I would find support from the group. They also felt that it would be good as sort of follow-up treatment. I would grab at anything at that point because I was in such a deep black hole, so down, so depressed. And I went the first time, and I have to say, it just made me feel so much brighter and happier, mainly because I think I just got everything that I was pent up in my head out. And the people there were so supportive that I believe it saved my life.
In some ways, my experience is slightly different because I was part of a different support group, a small group that met together to talk about very specific aspects of post-treatment. And it wasn't solely bowel cancer patients, it was right across the board. But what I found about a support group is that you make very profound, new, supportive friends. It's quite extraordinary. I thought at my age I knew who my friends were, and they were all utterly, utterly wonderful. But it has deepened past friendships and given me a lot of new friendships, and friendships who appreciate exactly what I've gone through and know that having gone through it, your life is never quite the same ever again.
Well, I joined the group because the Macmillan nurse was setting it up. He was such a nice person. He asked if my husband had been the patient and I would like to join the group. We got to the end of the treatment. We didn't really know what the future held, as most people don't. And so we thought, well, we'll go along, try it and see. We really benefited from it because you don't realise that there are things that you don't know and things that you need to know. So you do form certain friendships. It gives you a little bit of a purpose in life, in as much as you can, you know, you're going to go and meet these people once a month, and if you want to help out, you can. There's a slight social side, picnics, jazz nights, etc. And I think it really helped at a time when you feel people don't tell you what's over the other side, do they? They finish the treatment for you, and then you're in the big bad world. And I think the support group, that's where it helps, because you find you're not on your own, there's other people, and you, quite honestly, you can go enjoy yourself for a couple of hours, no matter what your troubles are.
As a carer, my involvement has been one almost as an observer, and the thing that's been truly valuable is the access you get and the understanding you get of the system of the health service and how you can actually cut through things that were great barriers just by knowing the right people. I mean, that's true in vast areas of life, but in this circumstance where you've had a really brutal cold introduction, as my partner did, to the fact that she had cancer, predated the rather more intelligent and softer approach that now prevails. And so for me it was incredibly valuable to feel confident that I could go and find information to help my partner. All of these things you're talking about, where people are opening up and discussing things that they've quite obviously been suppressing, it surprises me how quickly it's done. It does surprise me quite definitely, because when you've had expert speakers in, they've been able to define periods of time where certain symptoms are occurring, like as long as 3 years or 5 years, that people are worrying about, that that's maybe a return of a primary problem. They've demonstrated that no, that's how life is at that particular stage, and no, and the big question is, what should you worry about? And when you get those experts in like that, they are so good at defining that question. I mean, I've just sat back and watched a number of patients at very early stages after surgery really getting quite relieved.
The support group has given me so much information. I've learned so much about how to approach meetings with my oncologist, how to be prepared, what the blood tests and what they mean. I've just got more information now at my fingertips.
You can do it at your own pace, can't you, as well? When you've got your appointment, you've got 10 minutes if you're lucky. But as a support group, you've got, as long as the support group keeps going, really, as to getting your information and taking it in. And I think that's the main advantage. It's a good, you can go at your own pace. If you don't want to speak, you don't speak. If you want to, you could speak for most of the meeting if you wanted. And people do, don't they?
Some do, yes.
It is quite isolating being a patient and having just the communication with your specialist. I mean, I've just been signed off from oncology, and I'm back with my bowel surgeon. And the last time I saw him, I was finishing my chemo, and I started talking about it, and he said, "Oh, I don't know anything about chemotherapy. I'm a surgeon." And I thought, and this is the man who's going to be looking after me.
Yeah.
And he didn't really want me to tell him about chemo.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you feel the group brings everything together for
Well,
you?
it means that there's somewhere that there's people who do know and who've been there before and who can say, well, that doesn't necessarily mean this, or this doesn't necessarily mean that, and that there's more information.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's where the Macmillan nurses come in.
Yeah.
I mean,
They do fill in a lot
the
of
ones we've got
gaps,
are
they're brilliant.
absolutely superb, and they do cover, like you're saying, the oncologist and the surgeon and the radiation and the chemo and everything. And they're the ones that if you do have real trouble you can go to, and they will get it sorted for you.
Yeah, but some people think a support group is either people just sitting around moaning about this, that and the next thing, or just chit-chatting about anything in particular, whereas the support group has more elements of that. Like you say, it's like a follow-on to the treatment. It's meeting like minds, it's meeting other people, and I don't think people always feel, I think a lot of people feel a support group is what it says.
Yes.
You go in and you just chit-chat for an hour or so, have your tea and biscuits and go home. Whereas I feel that particularly our support group is more than that.
I think one of the things it does is it makes it real. Because if you've had this experience and you've been through the treatment, your friends know about it, your family know about it, but actually it's mostly just the experience is locked inside your own head and your body. And it's something about belonging to a group where everyone knows, everyone in the group or their carers have been through the same thing. It's actually helping you to adjust to the new reality. It's a bit like a bereavement group or something. It's a bit like any big change. So you had this massive change in your life, and the support group isn't just like you say for sitting around and moaning or having cups of tea. It's actually saying, this happened to me, it happened to all these other guys, and here we are.